Good evening and welcome to this week's episode of Coach's Corner. My name is Dwayne Dwight. I go by the Mindset Coach.
My name is the Uncle Junior, and I go by the Consistency Coach.
And we are the coaches of Coach's Corner. As always, like I tend to say, if you're here and you're not looking to do anything with the information that we're sharing, or you don't want to take this information, better yourself, and add value to others and yourself, then you may not be in the right place. However, if you're here and you're looking to be an impact to the people that you know, love, and care about, you're looking to increase your throughput in life. I'm not just talking monetarily, I'm talking emotionally and relationally. And I believe that you're in the right place at the right time. Not just that, I believe you were destined to listen to the sounds of my voice, the mindset coach, and my good friend, the consistency coach, on this evening. So take out a pen and piece of paper because we're going to have some fun tonight. That said, let me speak to my brother from another mother, the Uncle Junior himself, the consistency coach. How are you doing this evening, my friend?
I'm doing well this evening, man. Good day. Um, Great day, all things considered. And just enjoying it. Just enjoying the moment. Enjoy being on Coach's Corner right now in this time in this space, man. What about you? What goes on with you?
All is well, man. I have no complaints. Doing a lot of assessing these days, which I tend to do periodically. And that's part of the, as you just said, enjoying the moment, but also appreciating the moment without assigning any feeling to it, if that makes sense. I think a lot of times what we do is we just try to assign meaning to a thing based upon how we feel about the thing, not necessarily appreciating the thing for what it really is.
Mm.
So, in the space of doing that, just looking at things and appreciating things for what it is. And yeah, that's just it. That's where I'm at right now, man.
I like it, man. Speaking of which, we kind of talked about it behind, before we came on, about naps. And, I know, at our ripe old age of 49 and 51, someone kind of mentioned, they say they're back to their toddler stage or something like that. And I'm just like, I don't know if it's toddler stage, but I get the analogy. I get the connection and stuff like that. I just think that now at our age, we understand a little bit that, what we took for granted and what we didn't practice when we were younger, you know what I mean? We're practicing now. Back in the day, we would go 26 hours a day and then go to sleep for none and then wake up and go another 29 hours a day. You know what I mean? And we just didn't let off the gas. And for some of us, it has had, you know, um, life changing experiences. I went hard, I've had back surgery, arthritis in certain joints, carpal tunnel, a lot of these different things because I just didn't take care of myself. And I know there's a lot of military guys who have found themselves in those same situations. So, this conversation is kind of sort of about that. It's not necessarily about mental health today, but it can be. It could be about physical health. It could be about anything. We're just talking about, are you taking care of you? And we're just talking about men, but it don't have to be men. It can really be anybody, and I know that there's a lot going on in the world, and some people are not necessarily being intentional with just taking care of themselves, and some people are just waking up and surviving. And just to be honest, I have been on both sides of the fence. I've been in survival mode, and I have been in a place where I'm taking care of myself. Um, so we're gonna kind of start off the conversation with just saying something simple. And we're just talking about men right now. So for men, self-care is not just rest and bubble bath. For men, leading families or career, self-care is about prioritizing physical health, mental clarity, emotional balance, and spiritual peace with or without guilt. Without guilt. Um, so the first question of the night that I want to throw out there is this: you can make it personal, you can make it about anybody else, however you want to take it. Well, actually, non-personal. I put it up there specifically. So, what does it really mean for a man to take care of himself?
Um, Bring the definition back up first, because I think this is key.
Hmm.
I think um, I think the, I think the maturation of life presents itself to such a degree to where we start placing certain things in priority.
Mhm.
Um, when I was younger, physical health was at the top of it. I mean, you name it, that was it. Gym, exercising, whatever. And a lot of that was probably a competitive nature for me because, like you said, we were in the army. So physical health was the number one thing, uno. But the priority I placed on physical health, well, mental health, emotional balance, and spiritual peace kind of, you know, they were secondary and tertiary. It didn't get as much attention. Well, in my older age, it's not that. It's not the same thing now. Now, spiritual health has taken that top priority spot. Under spiritual health, it incorporates mental clarity and incorporates emotional balance. Um, and then physical health is an additional part that I add to it. That's something I have to. That's something that I have to do on my own. Not that spiritual health is outside of physical health, right? It is not, but also means that I get to do other stuff in conjunction with it and include my spiritual health with it as well. So, what does it really mean for a man to take care of himself? It means that that man has gotten to the point that he has effectively prioritized these things as it pertains to his life and how he is going to nurture each one of them in the order of priority that he sets for himself.
I like that. Because it sounds like what I'm, kind of short paraphrasing, it's about priorities. I mean, when man gets to a certain point, there are a certain amount of things that he put in place of other things just based off of who he is as a man and what's important to him at the time. I would say here's what I did. If I'm looking at all of these different things, emotional balance, mental clarity, the physical part, the spiritual part, um, I can be lazy about some things. So because of my laziness about something in the past, it created a space for me to be actually more productive. So I don't like reading. Um, but during the pandemic and all of that stuff that happened a long time ago, when that was going on and I was, looking to really dial in and really figure out my purpose, I heard someone talk about not listening to music while they work out. So I was like, man, I don't like reading books. But if I'm going on this hour walk or this run, I might as well throw in a podcast or throw in a book. So because of my kind of laziness, maybe it's not lazy, maybe it's just more of a combination of combining two different things at once in order. Maybe it's more practical, I guess, because you can kind of kill two birds at one stone. So that's kind of how I do it now. I just kind of combine those two things, but I do see all of the balance and the need for the balance when it comes to doing all of those different things. Like you said, when you got the spiritual part up top, those help with the mental clarity and the emotional balance and stuff like this. You know what I mean? So um I really like your perspective on this question right here.
Yeah, it's because I think sometimes when people see definitions like that has like four different parts.
Hmm.
They're interconnected parts. I say it that way. They're not independent. They're interdependent of one another. And so when a person sees that in their mind, they're like, oh man, I got to make time for physical health. I got to make time for mental clarity. I got to make time for emotional balance. Like I gotta make time for all of these. Well, that's not an accurate assertion of it. And you now have a false perception of this reality. Um, but understanding at whatever stage of your life that you're in, one of them is going to take priority. Whatever situation you find yourself in, one of them needs to take priority. And wherever you're trying to go, one of them must take priority. My physical health is not going to be the thing that creates the future for myself and that I'm looking to create, unless my future is centered around bodybuilding or being, an athlete or something of that nature. Well, if that's not my destination, then my physical health at that point maybe shouldn't take my priority, but should still be a part of my life.
Hmm.
And so, that's kind of like how that was my way of understanding what I need to, here's the word that you're probably going to hear a couple of times a day, focus, what I need to focus on. A lot of times what we tend to do is we try to focus on everything and then realize we're not focused on anything. Well, if can't spread focus across a spectrum, which in essence means I'm focused on nothing, then what does that mean when it comes down to the notion of balance? Can I find balance in physical health, mental clarity, emotional balance, and spiritual peace? Probably not. I got
Mhm.
to focus on one to get good at one and then transition my focus to another, hoping that the one that I focused on prior to has reached the maintenance phase to where now all I'm doing is maintaining physical health, maintaining mental clarity, maintaining emotional balance or spiritual peace. But then life circumstance will present itself to where,
Mhm.
oh, well, now you got to go back and focus on that again. Because I can do like, and I just say it like this at one point in time, like, yeah, back when we was in the army, the PT scale was the max you could get was 300. At one point in time, they had an extended scale. I was on average, on a bad day, 280, on a good day, 300, depending upon how I felt. And I knew where I could be because I got really good at preparing myself for it. But it wasn't just preparing for the test, it was a maintenance that I did in between the tests, not looking forward to the test, but because, maintaining good physical health.
Mhm.
Push-ups and sit-ups wasn't a hard thing for me. Running was. I hated running. Only reason because I used to stay in the gym lifting weights.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Well, you had then the deployments, Iraq, Afghanistan, all kind of stuff like that. We had people over there who got injured. Well, they can't come back in the same physical shape that they were when they got injured. They got to go back and first they got to go through a rehabilitation stage. And then after the rehabilitation stage, then they got to go back to a rebuilding phase. Well, the same thing applies when it comes down to these aspects of your life. When you meet that thing that is going to challenge your physical health, mental clarity, emotional balance, or spiritual peace, now you got to recognize, well, where did I go wrong here? Focus there, repair that, and then get back in the game of maintenance.
Mm-mm. There was a whole nugget that wasn't even part of the show that you just gave people out there. So I just threw it up there because you did it. There's a gold nugget, and I wanted to make sure that they saw it too, because there was a lot that you said right there, and it cleared up this definition a whole lot more. So it's a lot deeper, and I I appreciate that, man. Um, as we move along, man, we both have sons. You have daughters too. Um, and I know I said only these two because I just want to focus on these two. A lot of time when we talk about grinding, for people who don't understand what grinding is, I guess in the literal sense, it means you take something and you grind it to a pulp. You just make it smaller, smaller, smaller. But when we talking about grinding, you talking about going hard, going extra, just doing it hardcore, 100%, 120%, or whatever that may be, or to thrive. So part of it is focused on, I think, I don't know. I'm gonna come back to it. But for you, are you teaching your son to grind or to thrive?
I don't teach the grind.
Mm,
The grind is a waste of conversation. Um, I teach thriving. If you teach thriving, the grind becomes inherent. And this is what I mean when I say that. Grinding is all about working hard, if you will. Um,
mm-hmm,
you know, some people kind of relate it to chasing a bag. Well, I don't push that narrative. The narrative I push is thriving, understanding who you are, what you were created to do, and get really good at doing that to such a degree that there is no other person out there who does exactly what you do the way that you do for the people that you do it for. So in the midst of that, to get really good at a thing, it requires you to grind in preparation for. So the preparation stage it includes the grind. So there's no need for me to teach that. Now, if you're just lazy, you're just lazy. But
mm-hmm,
life is going to show you that you're lazy. I don't have to teach that lesson. So I teach to thrive because at the end of the day, I mean, I speak for me. I wasn't raised in a community to where they talked about thriving a lot. I've never really heard another adult male when I was younger ever use the word thrive. So now in my older age. It's not just my son, it's my son, any other son that listens to me. I teach Thrive. Why? Because that's the space where you get to find your groove. That's the cruising altitude for you. But it takes, just like an airplane coming off the runway, it takes a lot of thrust to get in the air. It takes a lot of thrust to get up to the altitude, 30,000 feet, and get into the jet stream. But once you get into the jet stream, you get to come off the thrust and you get the coast and allow the jet stream to push you along the way and save gas that way. The grind is coming off the runway, getting up to cruising altitude. Once you get the cruising altitude, you get to thrive for as long as you stay in the jet stream.
See, I like that analogy, especially since I just got off of a plane, so I could really relate to it, from a couple of days ago. Um, I like that. The way I looked at it is similar, but it's different. The way I looked at it, and it may be similar. I looked at it as the grind was more of the physical and the thriving was more of the mindset. That's the way I kind of looked at it when I was doing these. Because a few years ago, back again, when I was, trying to figure life out and figure things out, I heard a whole bunch of Eric Thomas and I heard a whole bunch of David Goggins. And everything that they talked about the grind, 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 grind. But as I take what they said, what all the information I had, and then what you just added to this, it makes sense because it is a need and a purpose for the grind. When you talked about the plane on the runway, wheel spinning, launching, thrusting, doing all of the different things with the wings that it needs to do in order to get there. And then once it get there, it's thriving. But even when I book my ticket, I'm not focused on the grind or the takeoff. I'm focused on the thriving, the cruising at flight level 370. That's what I'm looking at. You know what I'm saying? So I like how for me all of that just came together, and then we was able to connect those two dots and stuff like that. But yeah, I just looked at it as like the grind is being that physical and the thrive is being the more the mental thing that goes into it, and then kind of how you put it kind of makes a lot more sense to it. So I really I appreciate you for that, man.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
The grind. Cause I was back tell you back 5-7 years ago, all I was focused on was the grind. Grind, 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 grind. Now I will say that the grind produced a lot of good results, but there was mindset that was in there too. But now I'm not definitely not focused on the grind. I'm definitely focused on the thriving. I'm focused on being in a good space when I'm in my 50s and my 60s and my 70s and stuff like that, mentally, physically, spiritually, all these different areas that we've already been talking about.
Yeah.
Um, but as we move along, I got a question for us and the audience. So, chat, um, first of all, I forgot to acknowledge everybody coming in. So, if you haven't already, not if you haven't already, I ain't gonna ask y'all to do that. Thank everybody for being here this afternoon. I really appreciate it. The show would not be what it is without everybody in the chat and on the different platforms. So again, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Now go ahead and hit that like button. Now, answer this question right here. So this is for Coach, and this is for you guys in the audience and the chat as well. And I will start with this. What is one way you take care of you? One way I take care of me is I have dedicated time every single day for me that I'm allowed to pretty much do what I want to do. So in the morning, before I get up, before Shell get my time, before the dog get my time or anything else like that, I got an hour. In that hour, I can meditate, I can read, I can work out, whatever it is I want to do. You know what I mean? That's how I take care of myself. So me, is some of people who are watching this, a lot of y'all remember or may still pay tithes or whatever like that. Get first 10%. So when I wake up, I give myself that first percentage of my day when I'm fresh and different things like that. So that's one thing that I do to take care of myself because um, I see a lot of people, and I used to be the same way. I will wait to take care of myself at the end of the day. After I didn't gave my wife everything. I didn't gave my kids everything. I didn't did Hearts to Men podcast. I didn't worked all day long listening to the boss. I didn't volunteered for something else after school. And now I'm like, all right, whew, man, I'm gonna cut the game on or something like this. And 5 minutes later, I'm asleep somewhere. I haven't really taken care of myself. I'm just at a point where I'm exhausted, and I'm just, I'm looking for a moment to relax and get a couple seconds of peace. So for me, one thing that I've decided to do to take care of myself is to do that in the beginning of the day, and then at the end of the day, when I'm tired, I can keep going. I can keep pushing because I know that as soon as I wake up in the morning, I got more me time. So that's how I take care of myself.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same, except I'm more specific. Um, that hour is me plugging into the source because I consider myself to be a resource. Um, so I'm plugging into the source. That's that priority thing I was talking about. So for me, that's that spiritual piece. So me plugging into the source kind of prepares me for my day. And depending upon what the day is, it kind of balances out. So on days that I'm doing government work, it helps because that kickstarts my day as I get ready to go in here and stand before these students and talk to them about whatever it is we're going to talk about for that day. If I'm not going before them, I still have it. I just may not have it as soon as I had it then. But in the course of every day, I always attempt to have a conversation about something in relation to either something I taught or something I just discovered. So now it's not just continuing in the conversations of the lessons that I kind of understand, but it's kind of developing the lessons that I'm going to teach in a later point in time as well. And I have very intentional conversations in regard to that. Um, but here's the interesting part. I take naps.
Hmm.
Yeah, I take naps. And I do not have a problem with I'll tell you in the morning if I'm going to take a nap that day. Right. I tell like
Hmm.
people know who I've talked to during the morning and say, yep, there's a nap in my future. That's my phrase. Because I am planning right now to take a nap at some point in time. And I become very intentional. I'll close that laptop and go put it on the desk and go find me a corner someplace and get comfortable and turn something on TV. And whatever it is I turn on, it's only for white noise. I'm not
Hmm.
I'm not turning it on because I'm intentional about watching it. I'm turning it on just to have that little white noise in the background because it's about to be the catalyst for me to go to sleep.
And I got you on them naps, man. Ain't nothing like a good old nap now. Boy. I remember we was young, man. I be kicking and fighting a nap, boy. Man, I'm like, man, let's go. Let's do it. You know.
Yeah, because you had all of that pent up energy, right? That
Mhm.
that energy, and we can joke about it as adults, right?
Yeah.
Like all of that energy for no apparent reason. Like you expend all that energy just to run and play and all that other great stuff, and then you get older, it's like, where did all that energy go? So
Yeah.
now I got to be more intentional about my energy outputs and things of that nature. So yeah,
Mhm.
and those naps recharge your batteries.
They sure do. They sure do, brother. um, this question right here, I really, 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 really thought about. Um, I wanted to start and let you kind of come behind me if that's okay on this question. So, can a man lead well if he's always tired, angry, or disconnected? And my straight answer would be yes. Now, I think some people would probably initially say no. I don't know, but I think that I may be in the minority on this, and that's kind of why I wanted to go first. Um, Here's why. I think that men do it all the time. I think I have seen people who are leading in the military, tired, angry, disconnected, great leaders. Learned a lot from them. You know what I mean? And I think that I may have been that if I would pat myself on the back at some point and say that I was a great leader at some point, or at least a good leader. I think I had moments where I was a good leader. I'm not going to take that away. Um, And I was tired and angry and hurt and disconnected and all those other things. But I still led well, but there was a cost. The cost was mental health, the physical health, the spiritual health, all of those different things that we talked about at the beginning. So I do believe that men can do these things. However, there is a huge consequence or huge downside when they do that. And mostly they are the ones who've been affected by it. And sometimes it can spill over into other people, different things like that. So that's my answer. I say yes, but the other side to that is something that's really not productive.
If I had like a DJ turntable, this is where you hear me do the backward scratch. Right. Back it all the way
Uh-huh.
back up. I do understand why your answer is yes,
Mm-hmm.
but I would throw a little wrench in this question because I would say tired of, angry from,
Mm,
disconnected from. Because if the of and froms are the people that he is trying to lead, then the answer is no.
absolutely. I get that. Mm,
If the leader is tired of you, they can't lead you. Because 9 times out of 10, the reason why they're tired of you is because you're not necessarily open to them leading you. So why would a leader keep trying to lead somebody who's proven that they're unleadable, at least from them, right? Angry, I think that speaks to the person, right? Um, if I am leading a group and I'm angry with the group, then that speaks about me as a leader, right? But even in the midst of that, right, if I am angry with the people that I'm leading, again, there has to be something that has to change. I have to change my leadership philosophy for myself, to recognize that I might be leading through the wrong lens, so that now I can look at it through the element of me leading them is also a facet of me teaching them according to the leadership methodology that I'm using. If I am disconnected from you, no, the answer is complete. There is no other words that I can add to disconnected from. If I am disconnected from the people that I'm leading, not only will I struggle with leading them, they will struggle with following me.
I like that. So the answer is yes and no, depending on who you're leading. So if I'm tired of my wife, I'm angry with the dog, disconnected with my kids, it is going to be really hard for me to lead them. Really hard. It would be hard for me to lead them.
Well,
What would it be?
the dog is a
I'm
bonus.
just
Yeah,
yeah,
I know. The dog is a bonus, right?
yeah.
Disconnected from my kids might be
Mm,
a perception of
mm,
reality, not necessarily reality. Tired of my wife though, that's where I have to start. I
mhm,
have to start there. There has to be a conversation we need to have. If I have, and I'm not saying that there's ever a reason to be tired of, but at the end of the day, like I said, on a previous show on Saturday, like my patience is reserved for children. Like, there's no need for me to have the same conversation with an adult over and over again. At some point, I just got to recognize that you don't care about the conversation that we're having. So if I'm telling you this thing is bothering me, but yet in the moment you apologize and then turn around and keep doing it, yeah, anybody's going to get tired of that. So
mhm,
there's a conversation that we must have because you're going to have to help me get over this tired of feeling that I'm experiencing based upon your intentional your intentional neglect and disregard for what it is that I'm saying. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, if you come to me with something, you want that to be the most important thing I heard in the past 2 minutes.
absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying. What are we
Mhm,
saying when it comes down to this relationship? Me being
mhm,
disconnected from my kids, sometimes that's actually part of the grind.
mm.
I hate to say it that way. I'm just being for real.
Yep,
Sometimes
yeah,
that's part of the grind. Sometimes at whatever stage in our lives that we're in, if we're in our younger years and we're trying to build something, I might be disconnected because a majority of my time is at work. Mama, you're going to have to help me with that. So if I'm disconnected from them, not only is that my fault because I'm in the grind, that's your fault as well because you're not standing in the gap.
Mm.
What stories are you telling them when I'm not at home?
See, that's why I wanted to go first. 'Cause I knew we were going to add some more to it. You know what I'm saying? Because the differences and stuff like that is kind of what I was hoping to that came out of that. I was hoping that we had a slightly difference of a perspective, or at least different perspectives altogether. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah,
definitely see the validity in everything that you said too. Because yeah, who you're leading is definitely important.
yeah. And I
Um,
want to say, like, if I can just add,
yeah.
that's not. I believe I've seen it. I believe some women do an awesome job when, because you know how it is. I mean, you've been former army, you lived it. There are
Mhm,
times to where, do you want to work a 9 to 5? Sure. But how feasible is that based upon what you're doing? Like you have to understand it. That should be part of the understanding that we have as a couple. There are some women I've seen that did a very a fantastic job with helping the kids understand, like, look, daddy got to work, but he'll be home soon. That's why we're
mhm,
able to do the things that we're able to do because daddy does such a really good job at work. So they're
mhm,
kind of keeping that, you know what I'm saying? But then I've seen as well on the other
mhm,
side. So what I'm saying here is that there's always a spectrum. It's not a one size fit all when
mhm,
I say certain things. We have to realize that these things exist in the spectrum. There are some people who do a great job with these things. But then I believe on this side, and I believe this side is probably more plentiful than on this side. On this side, it's like where you need to, and you need to, and you need to, and you're not doing, and you're not doing, and you're not doing. Well, if the child hears that, what do you think the child is thinking now?
I like it, brother. You ready?
Let's do it.
Rapid fire with the mindset coach. All
The
right.
first answer
So
is a nap.
a nap. It might be something in here about right there. Actually, you
Mhm.
know what? This
Was
gonna
I
be a
right?
good one. You
Okay.
it might be. It might
Okay.
be. All right. All right. So we're doing rapid fire, folks. Feel free to just think about how you would answer the question. We have a couple seconds to answer the question. So the first question on rapid fire is this: what's one daily habit that actually fills your cup?
No, I'm joking.
In the nap.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
uh,
Um, for me, like I said, it's that 1 hour. That one
that
hour that
one
I
hour.
plug up. Yeah,
All right. When was the last time you checked in on your own mental health? Honestly,
probably about 30 minutes ago.
about 30 minutes ago. Okay. Are your boundaries clear, or do people walk all over your time and peace?
Absolutely clear.
I knew you was going to say that one. That was an easy one. Even though I put that in there, it wasn't just for you and for me. It was for somebody who is doing that. Because
Hmm.
I guarantee there is somebody who's going to watch this show, who's going to see that question and be like, you know what? I let people walk all over my time. Because at some point, been there, done it. No
Hmm.
more. Do you sleep to recover or just crash and repeat?
Yes. And that is a holistic
Yep.
response, right?
Uh-huh.
There are times that you crash and repeat,
Mhm.
especially when you're in the grind.
Yep.
But once you get to cruising altitude, you sleep to recover.
Yeah. Yeah. I like you said yes. Is your busyness a badge of honor or a mask for burnout? This is assuming.
Is your busyness a badge of honor or a mask for burnout?
Mhm.
Depending upon, okay, so for me, neither. Right.
Either. Okay.
For me, it's neither.
Okay.
But I do believe that when sometimes when you don't know you are busy, right? And a lot of times we like to add a little caveat to it. We kind of busy with a purpose, but we ain't got no purpose. We're just busy, and we want
Mhm.
everybody to see that we're busy. Therefore, they think that we're working towards something, but we don't have any goals. So we're just
Mhm.
busy, and we think busy equates to busyness. If you say it fast, it's business. No,
Mm.
there's a lot of people who create businesses for themselves, but they just become undervalued employees for themselves. So that's kind of like the badge of honor thing that they do,
Yeah.
right? For those people who experience who for those people who are redlining, that's what I tend to call it, burnout. For those
Mhm.
people who are redlining, the perception of busy is now an identity.
Mm. All right. I like it. I like it. I did that already. What's something you do just for you, no audience or no applause?
Read
Read. Do you feel your body like it matters or just feed it what's convenient?
like it matters.
Like it matters.
There is
Are
some
you
convenience in that. I'm not gonna lie. There's some
yeah,
convenience in that.
both.
I just got
Yeah, I
finished
would
eating some
say
crunch
both.
on munch. I ain't gonna lie. That's convenience.
Boy, that crunch and munch and fiddle faddle. Yeah, I'm with you. Are you scheduling rest or just hoping life gives you a break?
Man, I just told you I plan naps. You thought I'm just
That part right there. Yeah. I got you. That was it, man. That was the last one, man. Good stuff in there.
Yeah, man.
I had two more, but I thought they were more longer questions, so I didn't pull them out. And I was just saying real quick, how do you separate survival mode from your real identity? And the other ones, how do you know when you're running on E and what do you do about it? But those are just some bonus questions. If people want to go back and dig deeper on those, if you want to, feel free to do so. But appreciate it, man. Let's move on to another question. We still doing good on time. All right, this is a good one. How? So this is the how behind it. We always
Mhm.
talk about, men always talking about, yeah, I'm good. But kind of what I want to know is kind of what does that look like? So when we talk about how do men hide burnout behind I'm good, I'm looking for like what does that look like when you know what I'm saying? What does that look like?
I think, I think there's a huge spectrum on what
Huge
that looks
respect.
like.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of it can look like toxic behavior, right? And what do I mean when I say that? That
Mm-hmm.
means spending time with people that you know are not there to add value to your future. Spending time with people that you know that can actually that are not there to nurture the current relationship that you have. Y'all can read between the lines on what I'm saying. Um, spending time doing something that takes you away from the things that is burning you out. Um, it's doing something like you asked about the fueling your body, like comfort eating is another thing that people do when they're burnt out. Um, like emotional outbursts. Any little thing seems to kind of trigger them and set them off. Um, so it's a number of different ways that burnout manifests itself in men. Um, and a lot of times, and I won't say that the comfort eating is rare because I tell you, I see a lot more of it today than I've ever really seen. Or I'm just more aware of it, one of those two. But definitely the toxic behavior and spending time with people that's not there to usher you into the future, and spending time with what we tend to call inappropriate relationships, knowing that that relationship is not going to add value to your current relationship. Like, yeah, that's kind of like men do two things really well. I'm spilling the tea. I'm sorry. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Blame this on my nap I got planned here shortly. Um, two things men do really well: they work and they hunt. That's it. So when they're experiencing burnout, they're going to do one of those two things. Depending upon what is burning them out, decides what they end up really doing for the most part. Now you can add whatever what's on the back of hunt if you want to. That's your option. You can do that, right? But if work is burning that man out, then they're going to hunt, right? If home life is burning that man out, then they're going to work or hunt. It's up to them.
Yep. Um, there's a lot of truth in that.
Yes.
And because I was thinking about that, but I didn't think we were going to get here. So,
Ain't no
um,
telling where we're gonna go, bro, when you ask me questions.
yeah, because I used to be a hunter. Um, Now I don't get to the point to where I burn out. So I
Mhm.
don't even have to worry about the hunt. You know what I mean? And then I already got my gazelle. I'm good to go. You know what I'm saying? But it's interesting that you said that because now it's just opening up more thoughts in my head about what that looks like. So now what I'm trying to do is trying to go back and not necessarily all of my experiences, but when I see other people, when I'm what I'm seeing right now, and to try to make it more today.
Yeah.
So I can definitely see that. When you're burnt out, what a lot of times what you're looking for is comfort and peace and rest. And sometimes when you go hunting, you find it. So I definitely get that. I definitely see people who are burnt out and shop. Like you said, the spectrum is so vast as to so many different things this could be into, and um I think it's a good time to move on because it's so many of them, man. Not like that, but
But you
like
notice how all of them fall in either that category. You go
yeah,
shopping, guess what you're doing? You're hunting.
you hunting
That's it.
in a
You're
sense.
you're
Yeah.
if you need comfort food, guess what you start doing? You start
Mm-hmm.
hunting for the comfort food that's gonna make you feel better in that moment in time. So those are the two categories. I hate to say it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, 'cause when you burn out, man, because I remember being burnt out, man. I
Can you
just want to get
imagine
away.
can you imagine those people who felt burnout during COVID-19?
Man, I can't imagine.
Like, I mean, just
Can't
like
imagine.
considering just that alone, whether you're burnt out from work because you had to
Mm-hmm.
sit behind a screen and your camera had to be on the whole time, and the wife and the kids or the husband and the kids around there, and the dog is barking, and all of Amazon ringing the doorbell and stuff of that nature, and those are what we call distractors, by the way. Um, so now you have that going on. There was no outlet though. There was no out when work is a thing that is done in the home and you do not segregate yourself for that job. And like say for example, if a person doesn't have a dedicated office in the house and
Mm-hmm.
now their office is a part of the home, there is no
Yep.
separation between work and home. So
Yep.
now all of those things are merged together. You're still having to deal with the concerns of the home as well as work at the same time. And hopefully your family was, I don't want to say respectful enough, but were able to give you that time to work so that you could disconnect from that. But what if you couldn't? What if you didn't have that? What if your kids were younger and it was like bothering you? Not I won't say bothering you, but needing your attention while you're working at the same time, where there is no separation between home and work.
Mm.
Recipe for instant burnout.
That burnout in the home is is real. It's real, 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 real. Would you rather?
Yes.
Would you rather? Yes. Would you rather? Yes. Hey, let me change this. Let me change this so I can let it. So I can let it scroll across the bottom for everybody, so they know what segment we into. So, first question: or would you rather? We ain't got that much. We got a couple of these. There's some good ones right here. All right. Chat audience, feel free to chime in. Let us know what you think as well. All right. So would you rather rest now or recover later?
Recover later.
Recover later. Absolutely. Go and get it done. Get it all the way. That's me. Would you rather say no? Would you rather say no or silently burn out?
No.
No. Would you rather break down privately or reach out publicly?
I reach out publicly.
Would you rather hit the gym or hit the journal?
It depends. I know I'm messing up this question, but it
Are you
depends.
good?
There are times where a book, a journal, or whatever is a great outlet, but then there are times where I need to go burn off some steam. So
Mm,
yeah, at this older age, I would say the journal.
mm. I can Would you rather protect your time or please everyone? I put, you know how you are with time. That's why I put.
I would rather protect my priorities that I have allocated within the space of time that I have. Yes.
There you go. Would you rather meditate? Hey, would you rather meditate or hit mute on your phone
I think both of them go hand in hand.
all day? When I'm meditating, like right now, my phone on do not disturb. I'm
Yep.
over here. I'm in this space. This where I'm supposed to be right now. So I don't want to be disturbed by nobody. Leave
Absolutely.
me alone. Would you rather be respected for grinding or honored for balance?
Mm, I think because I believe in all actuality, balance is a fallacy. I would have to go with respected for grinding.
I'm with you. I respect. I don't need the honor.
Yeah.
Um, would you rather handle stress through prayer or pushing through?
Prayer.
A whole lot easier. Don't it does not mean that it doesn't require some work though on your part. What happens? Ooh, wrong. That was it. That was the last one. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Um, any of those you want to revisit?
I mean, either or, I'm good with either of them.
Okay.
If there's anyone you want to talk about specifically, no?
Nah, I'm
Okay,
good.
we're
I'm good
good
on
then.
all of them. Um, we've all been there. We've all done that. So, what do you think happens to men when they don't prioritize themselves? Now, I want to start by saying this. So, this is what I mean when I say prioritize. Prioritize does not mean neglect. So, just because right now I'm prioritizing this hour in my life for Coach's Corner, I'm not neglecting my wife. I'm not neglecting the dog. So I just want to make that clear that prioritization does not mean you neglect something else. It can be, but it doesn't automatically mean that you're neglecting something else.
Hmm. I'm glad you said that because I did have an initial struggle when I'm looking at this, and I get it. But still, yeah, I still. Well, let me just answer the question as is. What happens when a man does not prioritize self? Well, I think that means that that man prioritized something or someone else. Um, Now, honoring the question as is, that kind of takes us back when a person doesn't prioritize himself, that opens them up to burnout, it opens them up to frustration, opens them up to all those different things. So I'm not leaving that off the table. There is a sense of responsibility that each person is supposed to have in relation to themselves. That should be a daily thing. Most people call it self-care, right? Self-care and responsibility is the same thing to me. So I must exercise responsibility. If I don't change the oil in my car, eventually I should expect it to break down. It's that simple. But do I make changing the oil in my car a priority every time I get in the car to drive it? Absolutely not.
No.
Right. The priority for the vehicle is to transport me from point A to point B. I take responsibility for the vehicle because I own it so that it can do A to B. So I think the same thing applies when it comes down to us. The world wants us to believe that, and this is in no shape, form, or fashion me taking a jab at the question. I just want to make sure I say that first.
Mhm.
The world wants you to believe that you must prioritize yourself in order to be for somebody else. Let me say it like this: you must take responsibility for yourself. That's just not changing the oil. That's just not making sure that you eat, sleep, and all of those other things. But that's also taking responsibility for the outputs that you do, right? So if you do something, if someone makes you aware of it, it's your responsibility to own it, not put it off. So I'm saying all of that because all of that is a part of being a part of that matrix of priority. However, you do that so that you can, right? The primary purpose of the car is to transport you from A to B. The primary purpose of responsibility, being responsible for yourself, so you can blah 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 for other people. If you're a husband or a wife, it's for your husband or your wife. If both husband and wife got children, it's for the children, right? Both of you working together for the children. That, if I can say, was the one thing that I believe that we did a very poor job of learning in our younger years. Whether, and I say learning because I don't want to point the finger at one group or entity or anything of that nature. It wasn't
Right.
really taught at home. It wasn't really taught. And I'm talking about my home now. I'm not talking about yours. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't really taught at home. It wasn't really taught in the school system. I didn't really surround myself with people who taught me lessons like that. So at the end of the day, it was either you or me. That was it.
Mm.
So if there was only a corner of water in this, bro, you fixing to be thirsty.
Done.
I'm just, sorry, it's a desert. I'm about to get all this right here. I think that's the thing that we miss when it comes down to this whole taking care of yourself thing. I don't take care of myself so I can stand on a mountaintop in the three-piece suit, you know what I'm saying, with the rings and the gold chain. And no, that's not it at all. I take care of myself so I can serve others. And I think that's the thing that happens.
Yeah. I rock with that. If I would add anything to what you're saying, just to this question, what happens when a man doesn't prioritize himself at face value? I think he loses. I think that when you don't prioritize or take time and space to focus on you, you lose. I think I lost for years because I didn't prioritize reading. I didn't prioritize having hard conversations. I didn't prioritize reading certain information or getting knowledge and information about certain topics, which cost me. I think in certain areas I was able to catch up, but there are certain areas I'm never going to be able to catch up with. You know what I'm saying? So, regardless of how much money I start saving today, is not going to be nothing like if I would have started or prioritizing saving money at 20 years old. So I think what happens when men don't prioritize themselves, I think you lose and you miss out on all of these different opportunities, become a better version of yourself. And like I said, prioritizing is not necessarily meaning that you have to neglect anything. But what if you say, this is how you break down how I'm gonna prioritize myself? I'm gonna prioritize myself. I'm gonna give myself, no matter what, 2 hours a day for whatever. And for those 2 hours, you read your word, or you go to the gym, or you're taking an online course, or you're taking a class to get better at something. So I think that when men and women don't prioritize themselves, I think they kind of set themselves up for to not have certain things in the future that they could have if they would have taken that time to prioritize themselves. Again, 1 hour a day, you got 23 other hours, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? To take care
Yeah.
of grandma, to take care of your nieces and the nephews and work. Give yourself an hour, give yourself 90 minutes, give yourself 30 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So,
I will add to what you're saying, and this is definitely not against it. You said when men don't prioritize themselves, they lose.
mhm.
I will add to that that not only do men lose, everybody loses.
Ooh, yeah.
Everybody loses.
Mm,
The wife loses, the kids lose, like everybody loses. The culture, the community lose, the culture
mhm,
loses. Everybody loses. It is a, and I know there's somebody someplace saying, well, men lose if women don't prioritize themselves. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
mhm,
But that's the point. The whole point behind it is that it's not just me taking responsibility for myself for the sake of me. It's because I was put here to serve the people that I encounter. So when
mhm.
I don't take care of myself, everybody lose.
Yep, absolutely. Real quick on this one, the next question, and then I want to get to a I think probably want to do fact or myth, maybe get to them, all depends. But I just want to, real quick, kind of just, why you think some men are afraid to rest? And I would just start by me, and I would just say, I'll keep it quick, but I say it's fear for how they may be perceived, based off of their interpretation of how men are supposed to be. And to give an example, is like, remember we had to work them long hours and stuff in the military and stuff like this. You had officers and senior NCOs was like, man, y'all need to be working. And he's like, man, we ain't got nothing to do. Like, why y'all here Saturday? Why are we working till 8, 9 o'clock at night? Like, we just sitting around, we ain't doing nothing. But those men, it was something in them. They feared that if they rested or if they went home, that they were going to be looked at a certain way and their promotion may be affected by it. So I think sometimes men are afraid to rest out of fear for what FOMO, fear of missing out on a promotion or whatever that may be.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I remember that parental guidance is suggested. I remember when I was in the Army, I had a few friends that were warrant officers, and warrant officers are like a special breed. And I had one of them. He said, "All right, D, I'm getting ready to go, man." I said, "Where you going, Chief?" He said, "Man, I got to get me a woman." I'm like, "Wait, what?" I literally said, "Wait, what?" He said, "Yeah, a woman." He said, "No, not like that." He said, "Woman is warrant officer mandatory afternoon nap." So wait a minute. He said, "Yeah, man." He said, "I go take me a nap every day." He was in the Army, by the way. Warrant officer mandatory afternoon nap. And in my mind, I'm thinking like, that's wrong. That is so wrong. But it's like, okay, I get it. His job is done. There's nothing left for him to do. No need to sit here and look at people. Well, I'm about to go. I get it. To your point, under the assigned identity of provision and protection, protection a lot stems from provision. When we were growing up, you would hear that, Mr. Johnny is a good man. Why? Because Mr. Johnny got a good job. And so as long as Mr. Johnny had a good job, Mr. Johnny was a good man, right? And Mr. Johnny worked really hard. Those are like two of the best things you heard about Mr. Johnny. Good job, work hard. And so I think a lot of times, and I don't think this is as big of an issue today as it once was.
I
But
agree.
some people still carry that as long as I have a good job and I work hard, then those are the only two things that I'm required to do. Because now I am meeting your expectations of who I'm supposed to be as a man.
Yep, somebody else's expectations. I don't like that one. We'll do fact or myth and then we'll wrap it up. You okay with that? All right. Fact or myth, folks. Fact or myth. Prioritizing yourself means neglecting others.
You already answered that one. That's a
I
myth.
already answered it. That's a myth. All day myth, all day and twice on Sunday. Men struggle more with asking for help. Fact or myth?
Interesting. I'm pausing because I realized I answered the last question a little too fast and I did not give the chat the opportunity to answer. No, you can go back.
Oh.
But to this question, I think it's a really good question. And for me, I want to say fact.
Mm.
Men have this thing called machismo.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to appear weak. So if I'm asking for help, it makes me feel as though I'm weak because of my perception of who you think I'm supposed to be. Now, do I have statistical data to support that? I do not, but I believe I can go get it. I believe I can go get it to support that. Go ahead.
Same. But I was kind of like on the fence. But then I started thinking men don't struggle with asking for help. I think they struggle with who they ask for help. And if I look at that, then that would bring them down because that means half of the people, they ain't gonna ask for help. I'm gonna leave it at that. If I got an issue, more than likely I'm coming to coach. If I got a question or if I got an issue with something. So that eliminates half the people because I'm probably not going to talk to other people about it. So just based off of just that, I would agree. Like you said, I don't have any data or statistics to pull it up, but I would agree that men probably struggle more with asking for help because
There's so much more I want to say in regards to this, especially to what you just said,
yeah.
but I can't on this
Hmm.
platform.
Yeah.
Um, but if you know me, you probably already heard me talk about it, and I will say it. I would give a piece of it,
Hmm.
and this is by no means a sexist show or a sexist rant. I want to make sure I'm
Absolutely
saying that
not.
out front. There are some people who are given help without them even asking for it, or informed that help is available to them without them even asking for it. And then there are some people to where they were never told that there is any help out there, nor is it even possible to find help that was specific and dedicated to them.
Mm.
So this group of people who know that there's help for them, either they know it's available or they're in a group to where somebody can say it's available, and all you got to do is go ask for it. And then they'll even give you the terminology to use to get that type of help.
Mm.
This group of people here who don't know about any help that's specific to them, and most of them don't know it, the only help that they know is help yourself.
Mm.
Pull your this is the one, this is the group that is told if you want better, you're gonna have to pull yourself up by your own bootstrap. So why would this group of people ask for help when they were told in so many ways, in no uncertain terms, that there is no help for you?
Mm.
So when I look at men struggle more with asking for help, my answer is still fact, because they don't believe that there is help out there specific for them.
I'm riding with you on this one too. Facts all day, brother.
That's why I said I kind of had to skirt the line and not get all the way
Yeah.
in the water.
Yeah. And the second time we didn't skirted the line today. But it's all good though. I love it. Um, Rest equals laziness. Fact or myth?
Myth.
Myth. About to go get some laziness. About to go get some rest in a little bit. Real men grind 24/7.
I think I can use this word on here because this
Okay.
isn't TikTok. Dead men grind 24/7. That's what ends up happening.
Boom. There you go. Yeah, ain't 24.
It
No,
it ain't it won't be long. That's
Mm-hmm.
all I'm saying. If you're grinding 24/7, it won't be long.
Yep. You gotta take some time off. Last one, fact or myth. You cannot truly take care of yourself without setting and enforcing boundaries.
100% fact.
Yep. I'm factoring that up too, man. That's a really good one right there. And good way to end the show, man. Really good conversation, man. I enjoyed this one. Um, Enjoyed the conversation and having it with you as well. Enjoyed all of the people in the chat being here with us, enjoying us and stuff like that, man. What do you got for us before we roll out, other than August 16th and the seminar?
There we go. That was a big one there. August 16th seminar. I think this whole notion of you know, taking care of yourself is important.
Yeah.
But make sure that you have a clear perspective of why you're taking care of yourself. I think some people just take care of themselves just for the sake of taking care of themselves because it's the popular thing to do. But what is the reason behind it? There has to be a purpose. If there is no purpose, then you're just doing a thing and you have no reason behind doing the thing. Then you're just going to fall in love with doing that thing. And then that, in essence, become your grind. Part of your
Mhm.
grind is taking care of yourself. So we got to be careful with that. Um, I think, in essence, on this platform, whether we're talking the hearts of men, whether we're talking Coach's Corner, reframing the image of relationships, or the hearts of women. I think that's what you're getting. You're getting honest opinions, facts, things of that nature about what that looks like so that we can be better for other people. Couple of weeks, we're going to have a conversation about conflict. And it's going to be a conversation about conflict that's probably going to challenge a lot of perspectives. And that's the
Okay.
intent behind it. That's the intent behind it.
Mhm.
Right. So just want to kind of put that out. So again, remember August 16th, look in the show notes, make sure that you enroll so that you can, it's free. So anybody got no reason not to enroll.
There you go.
Um, that way that you can hear what's going to be shared. Yeah, man, that's it. I done done too much talking.
We good, man. See, all hearts and mind are clear. We good, folks, man. Again appreciate everybody for being here. Check us out again next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for another episode of Coach's Corner. We are out.